Ladies and gentlemen, it's 9 o'clock. It's top of the hour. It's the Dave Richards show with the gorgeous Michael Reynolds, as always.
Dave, can I just stop you? That was purely medicinal. Purely medicinal.
Michael, looking at you tonight, young man, makes me want to go out and buy some milk tray.
Well, I've got to tell you, Dave, when you get to my age, as virile and as athletic. No, I certainly got my own teeth. As athletic as I am, Dave, no, don't do that. Just buy some whole nut. You'll be fine.
Whole nut.
What sort of weekend you had, sweetheart?
Well, yeah, very good. I'm glad that spring is finally sort of showing itself, although it's very cold in the evenings. A lot of good news out there, Michael, and a lot of sad news with regards to the baby issue this week of the baby being found dead and the parents estranged and on the run. It's all sad. Today we've had over 60 people go to Westminster Magistrates Court with regards to council tax and whether it's lawful and whether we should pay it. The majority of them were thrown out of court, and the individual that was bringing these issues to the court was listened to, but they granted this so-called liability order nonetheless. An absolute farce, and the Metropolitan Police, as always, protecting the corporate elites, and it's just sad, but they went nonetheless. So yeah, there's a lot going on right now, and I sit here, Mike, right, and I've got to be honest, I wonder who actually watches these shows, who's listening, who's paying attention, what kind of lives they're having, and how must they be feeling right now? What's going through their minds? Do they still trust these benevolent leaders and illustrious leaders of this country, or are they now starting to think, not sure about this, maybe there's another way? I think many people now are questioning what's going on, and this is what led you down your path, isn't it?
Well, to some degree, absolutely. But I have to say, Dave, that first of all, it's very sad about that baby. That baby apparently has been dead some time. It's not just been recently killed. It's been dead a little while, apparently, according to the latest evidence. Those people, negligence or murder. Personally, I call it murder, and go away for the rest of their lives and never come out of prison. That baby was an innocent. It was a child of God. It never had a chance to grow or do anything. It's had its life taken away. So why have we still got these people in a cell? We're going to keep them for the next 50 years, banged up. No, I think they should. I think people like that, the rope, or the guillotine even, or fire, whatever way you like. But we've got to bring. I'm looking at Jesus down here, Jesus the Lion, saying, "Watch his suck dick coming out and getting abused." Right? Suck dick Khan. Let's be honest. That man is not fit to command a tent. Right? The man is a menace. He's got to be put in his place, which is out of the shitty he came from. He crawled out of there like some fucking piece of shit, and he's got to the biggest turd I've ever seen. The man is not fit to be mayor of London. He's not fit to be mayor of anything. The only thing he is a mayor, he should be getting shagged by some large stallion. That's what he needs, to put some fucking sense in him. But basically, I cannot see. Just bear with me one sec. All I'll say is like this. He's spending all this time and money. I've seen countless meetings of all these councillors talking about ULEZ. He said today, I've seen 4,000 people die because of the amount of fumes they're breathing in. He's a liar. He's a liar. Okay? Now, 4,000. How many people in the last 2 years have been murdered, and since he's been mayor, have been murdered on the streets of London? How many people have been stabbed, robbed? How many people feel when Boris was, well, I'm not saying he's the best mayor, but when Boris was mayor, how many people felt safer then than they do right now on the streets of London? It's an absolute shit show out what's going on out under his watch. He's police and crime commissioner. That man now should be brought into a court and prosecuted for negligence. The man is complete fucking knob breath, and he's got to go. He's got to. I mean, if people vote him in, then that's the end of London as we know it. Because he's trying to turn it into, I don't know, Karachi, or he's trying to turn it into a place where, you know. The minorities run rule. We are 70% white in this country. I'm not a racist. I've got a black girlfriend, for fuck's sake. I mean, I'm not a racist. What I am saying, Dave, quite reasonably, is that the indigenous population of this country, that includes people born here from other races, we have a right to get first. We're first in the queue. I'm not suggesting we shouldn't take people in from other countries or persecute. Absolutely. But not the people coming across in their thousands every week to take from us what we can't afford to give. We are not. We've got people out there starving and freezing to death, and we're giving these fuckers nearly 7 million quid a day to put them up in 5-star hotels. Why are we fucking doing this? Why is it that every time you get some scumbag, like just today, I was reading a guy. He's a nasty piece of work. He was trying to be deported back to Jamaica. Okay, and what happened? Naomi Campbell, Tanya Newton, all these celebrities came back and said, "Oh, you can't. It's under his human rights." What about the fucking human rights that the people that he hurt? What happened now? He's just murdered someone.
No,
they could have deported him, and he's murdered someone. So that's what it is. So no matter what this government knows, they're culpable as much as Labour Party. Labour Party can be worse. But this government ain't a lot better because they're not saying, fuck you, we run the government, change the law, get rid of this human rights and put people in there and put them back to where they come from. Not just stick this complete joke of people saying, going round and round in circles, saying, oh, you can't deport him. He may have raped and pillaged his way through the country, but he's got right to family life. Oh, no, he hasn't. He's got right to one thing, being banged up in the neck, or if he's murdered someone, we've got to get rid of him. We send him back to where he comes from, or he faces the death penalty. We've got to bring back stringent measures to stop these people just running around the capital, killing people. And somebody yesterday tried to set light to someone. They're just trying to set light to someone. I mean, you've got nutcases running around. Nutcases. And what we do
I've heard, I think it might have been in Sidcup or Swanley yesterday, there was, I think, 2 women that were stabbed quite badly, and then they was having hammers. These individuals were taking hammers to them as well, and I'm thinking, my goodness. Look, Richard Vobes, I know I keep mentioning him, but this man is on YouTube, and he's in his, I don't know, late 60s, early 70s. He's bald-headed. He's got a bit of a Duncan Goodhue about him, but he did a brilliant video earlier on this week called "It's All Lies," and I thought, let's have a little listen. So I watched it, and I had a big smile on my face because he's reaching. He's in this kind of ethos or movement, a Heineken, because he reaches the parts that other beers ain't reaching. And he said today he's the man of the moment. People keep saying he's the man of the moment, but he don't see it. He's just saying, well, I'm only here exercising my thoughts and my views, and you guys at home seem to be liking it. But the video, It's All Lies, he said, you know, the whole of govern means to control, and ment is the mind. He said it's all lies. He said everything that they do, that they're involved in, is just lies. It's lies upon lies upon lies. And it was a brilliant video. And I think unless we do something firstly as individuals to starve this beast, and then as a people of a country, and come together and say, you know what, I think we've had enough of this. And I genuinely, I spoke to my dad today. I spoke to my dad. My dad's he's probably not going to like me for saying this, but he's 80 this June. And he said, look, he said, I wouldn't. He said, if I had like rent and all that at the moment, he said, I wouldn't be able to survive. He said, because the pension is not covering the inflation of all these bills. And I said, Dad, it's all, this system's by design. It's now is designed to break people, and we as a people we have to push back, Mike. We have to push back, and we have to, instead of keep talking, we've got to walk the walk and put our money where our mouth is. Otherwise, we're all going to sink, bro.
Dave, I'm not joking. This is, hand on heart here. Literally hand on heart. Everybody I spoke to this week, and I always get in, I talked to the guy who comes with the sprinklers here. We've got a sprinkler system in there, on the fire alarm, and he came to do a yearly check on it. And I was chatting, he was talking about, I said about this and that. I said, wretched gun, a pain in the arse. And he went right into one. He said, the time's coming. This is a guy I don't know. So the time's coming, he said, then everybody's going to be out in the street, and these fuckers, we're going to sweep them away. He said, because we cannot now tolerate. He said, I cannot believe that blokes are sitting there, can't feed their kids. He said, how does a man feel can't do that? Well, that's what we've said, repeatedly said over the last week.
Yeah.
This, and it is a crisis. And Jeremy Hunt, who's the Chancellor, is trying to inflict more money out of us. You've got suck dick cunt fucking taking our money, more money out of us. I mean, how much money can you can't get blood out of a stone. You cannot continue to take money away from people when they've got no money to give. It's impossible to believe that we as a people we are the finest race of the English and the finest race of people in the world. I know I'm English and I'm made up all kinds of weird ones. But we are a forgiving, nice people. But they forgot the most important thing. That at some point there is the British resolve and the English resolve, and at some point they're going to reap the whirlwind, because we cannot continue to be battered and pushed and smashed around like this by people who think they work for us. We don't work for them.
Yeah.
That's our money. That's our money sitting there. Never mind about dingy divers and all the shit that we're putting up with. Sort out our population first. Sort out the people sitting on the street. Sort out mums who can't afford nappies. Let's give people a reasonable living. Let's pay people pensioners. They say, don't overtax the rich. The rich are paying more money than they've ever paid in their lives. We can't keep taking money away from rich people, because they'll just leave. That's what they do. Look what's happened in America. Look at California. They've never seen such an exodus. New York, an exodus. They're going to Texas, and they're going to Florida. And Ron DeSantis he's going around the country saying, come to Florida, and they're building houses for everybody. They're giving reasonable rents for everybody. They're looking after people. What's this country doing? They're ensuring that we as a people are being smashed and trodden and our faces are down in the shit, while these fucking elites sit in Parliament saying, it's good. We got to pay this, we got to pay that, and fuck you. I don't care about paying people. Look after the population first. We come first, not the fucking creditors. Nobody else. We
are the creditors. We're the creditors.
Oh, there you go. Well, we are. We're not.
We are.
Yeah, we are. The point I'm making, Dave, is that we come first. The population comes first. They are not defending the realm. They're not looking after us. They're allowing a little scumbag in London to go around allowing people to kill people. They're doing nothing about it. They're allowing him to rule and do what he likes. And what they're doing about it? Nothing. But it's about time we did something about it. We started getting militant and saying, we are not going to fucking pull up with this bullshit any longer, because we're sick to death of being pushed around by nobodies. What is he? He's a tiny little shit, a bag of shit, that man. He's just not fit to be in control of London. It's the greatest city in the world. Well, it was when I was a kid. Where is it now? It's been ruled by people like Keir Starmer, who lives in Camden and only travels about 5 miles either way, unless he goes to Davos to see the WEF. I mean, it just gets to the point. I'm just sick to death of it. We're sick to death of people killing people. I'm sick to death of people just walk around the streets thinking they can do what they like. And I'm sick to death of police force that's full of people. When I was a kid, a policeman being accosting someone, or they give you a slap, absolutely. Punching a woman, well, no, not really. But the corruption and everything else is just appalling.
There was an altercation earlier on, I think, this week in Liverpool, in a street where the locals turned out and were going head to head with the police. And the way that this individual, this male couple, was pushing this woman around, I tell you what, it was harrowing to watch. He had no care or interest in her at all. He weren't interested in what she had to say. And when Thingy just pushed her, luckily her car was in the way, and she she didn't fall over in the road, but she was going, mate. He pushed her with such ferocity. I think the police, myself personally, are scumbags. This is Matt Hancock. Matt Hancock apparently this week has leaked 40,000 WhatsApp messages, and I'm going to read you one that my friend from Lanzarote, who's out there at the moment, just sent me this week. Now, personally, I think this Matt Hancock thing could be a bit of a distraction, a bit of a setup. Who knows? But I think Matt Hancock's landed himself maybe in a little bit of hot water. He says here, I currently have 22,000 spare slots tomorrow at my drive-thrus. Hence, I've extended eligibility today. Demand just isn't there. This is obviously good news about the spread of the V, but hard for my targets. So I could really do with a testing splash. Can you make this happen? And his recipient, who was on the other end of this, is George Osborne, Slippery George Osborne. And George has retorted, yes, of course. All you need to do tomorrow is give some exclusive words to the Standard, and I tell the team to splash it. Now, I don't know what splash it means or stands for. And he says, you're almost there. Send the words to me by 8 a.m. But you'll like the second part of this. He says, trying to spread the responsibility from you to number 10. I've said it before. And Matt Hancock says, okay, but mass testing is going very well. I fear this looks like you've asked for me to be overruled. And George Osborne says, no one thinks testing is going well, Matt. So Matt Hancock apparently, and I think this is a big ruse and a big deception and a big distraction, he's met with some woman, a reporter from some tabloid or whatever it is, and she's confided in him and him in her, and he's given her 40,000 WhatsApp messages, and apparently Matt Hancock has been advised to get a good lawyer, but we'll see. Who knows? I don't know. What do you make of that, Mike?
He's just what is he? He's too bob, isn't he? He's not. To be honest with you, Dave, we're sitting there talking about somebody who's just innocuous. He's just pointless. You know, we've got so many better things to think about because none of them are any good. All politicians have all got their nose in the trough. Oh, I mean, What do we do? You as objectively, I love you, one of my best friends. I love you dearly, but you work your nuts off of people. You fucking put yourself out for them. You know, you're reasonable. You're plumber. You could charge £200 an hour, as you know you can. And you go down 50, 60 quid. Oh, I'll do that. Don't worry about it. I'll sort that out for you. And you do it. You're a good heart. That is what this country's all about. You are the sort of person that this country's all about. That give and take, not taking advantage of people when they're in a bad position. Of course you're there to make a profit. If you could charge £200 an hour, of course you would. To certain people. Some people can afford it. But to some poor cow around the corner who's got a leaky tap, well, you'd probably walk outside there if you had to do that. And you'd even pay the parts and everything else. And it takes you an hour or whatever. And you do it for nothing because you've got a good heart and you're a Christian man. You understand, but these people, they're not Christians. They're satanic. They're evil. They're nasty. And they got one thing in mind, the suppression of the masses and to gain power over our hearts and minds. Well, that ain't going to fucking happen in here. Certainly ain't going to happen in Shea Witcher. And it certainly ain't going to happen, hopefully, in the 200-300 people who watch this on a regular basis. But, I mean, there are so many people doing what we do. Okay, and some of them are really good and some of them are really bad. But most of them have a very obtuse way of looking at life. And although there's some of them try to be real, some of them try to be realistic, they're there for impact. They don't speak from the heart. They seem that they react to what's being said. What I say and what you say is speak from the heart. It's a gut reaction, not scripted. We don't see it. I haven't got words in front. I've got one or two things that remind me that about things that have gone on during the week. So when you mention it, it brings it back because it's an age thing, darling. But we speak from the heart, and we don't speak from a script. What we do is like, hopefully, I wish more people would come on and give us a hard time. and say you're talking bollocks. I'd love if somebody comes and said, "I'm talking bullshit, Mike," which I usually do, of course I do. But I try to be honest. I try to say this is what I really think, and it's not something I sat and thought about a week. It's something I try to keep my mind clear, though it's difficult of what's going on. But I try to keep my mind clear to give an objective opinion. But sometimes with someone like Khan and the government, you can't, because you are being eroded by their relentless pursuit of power and suppression. And that's what this great country now is going to be. Somebody said today, I was reading, be poorer than Romania. Poorer than Romania.
Really?
That's where this country's going.
Really?
So, poorer than Romania.
Goodness me.
So that's where we are. Now, the proud English, the British Bulldog, the Lions of England, Rule Britannia and all that, things of the past. As far as they're concerned, it's like, fuck you, and you keep paying. You keep paying my private jets. Keep paying. Bill Gates said, what's his name? Classic, wasn't it? Bill Gates said, jetting around, private jets really don't cause that much pollution. That's what he said with his £9 billion yacht, whatever he's got, and all this bullshit.
You'll like this one, Michael. You'll like this one. This might shed a little bit of light on the system we live in. This is from 1 Samuel chapter 8, right? It says, Samuel appoints his sons as judges over Israel, who demands a king instead to reign over them. So in 1 Samuel chapter 8, it's telling us that we turned from the royal law, from the holy law, and we demanded that we had a king. But in 1 Samuel chapter 8, it says, once you appoint your king, you're under that king for his rules and regulations. And this is why we suffer so bad. So bad.
Well, the thing is, Dave, it's, the Bible was written over 2,000 years ago. And there we go. And obviously, so Jesus because the Jews sought to kill him. Absolutely. Well, Jesus was the Jews, we know. But however, that's I don't know, Dave. If you take what you just said, people need to be led. They can't. They need direction. And what's happened, I fear, is direction used to come from the Bible. And what happened? We've got what they call the protection racket, which is the church. The church has got nothing to do with God at all. All the churches is a way of extracting money, power, and property from the indigenous population. Now, why is it we need the Vatican? What do we need the Vatican? What does it do? Get some old bloke, stands up there and goes, In nomine Patri, Filii, Spiritus Sanctus, and they'll go, Amen. That's it. I mean, I've been in St. Peter's Square, I got blessed the Father Popper, all that bullshit, and there was a couple of nuns in front of me. I said, do you come? Well, we come all the time. But I thought, why? Why would you want to come and see some old bloke sitting on there talking bollocks? He's talking in Latin. First of all, I don't speak Latin. Okay, I don't speak church speak. You read the Bible. That's all you need. You don't need some old Father Feedable to sit down and tell you need to be more charitable. So we'll close in times of crisis. We'll close all the churches in case they destroy our property. Whose property? Who paid for that? We paid for it, but the tithes they've extracted us over the thousands of years that these fuckers have been going. A man died on the cross and been pouncing off him every day since he died. That's a fact of the church.
Well,
the church is not fit for purpose.
It's not. No.
Christianity and all your other faiths are in your heart and in your mind.
Well, the word religion's never mentioned once in the scripture. And secondly, the system we live in, and Klaus Schwab, the anal butt, keeps it reminding everyone that you alone nothing can be happy, which we're already there, because you can't own your cars, you can't own your homes, you can't own your kids. So therefore, by the rule of thumb, if you can't own anything and you have no control over it, then there can be no debt. You can own no debt if you can't own a single thing. So if someone's coming after you for council tax on a property that you don't own because it's all in a legal title with the Crown, then you cannot realistically, and in truth and fact, you cannot owe a debt upon it. That's an absolute fact. How can you owe a debt on something that you do not have control or ownership over? You can't.
Dave, you know, all taxes are con. All taxes were raised for one thing: to fight wars. We need to raise money to fight wars. What did in days of yore, you know, the days of Arthur and Guinevere? What did they raise taxes for? Oh, right, certainly to build castles and to keep us all safe. Well, it's fair enough to deal with that. Defence of the realm, we've got to pay for that. Absolutely not a problem. I don't mind paying someone to look after us, you know, defensively. But do I really need someone like Jeremy Hunt to tell me what I can and can't spend my money on, and where I can spend it? Do I really need some man who sits totally unelected by my members? My members, I'm here to defend my members. My members, you know, it's like Fred Kite, you know, walking around saying the unions are taking their view on this, that. We are strict. It's bullshit. Dave, we are free people. We have brains. We can think for ourselves. We don't need to be led. We need to lead, and we need to lead together. And going forward, if we all join hands and said, "Come on, we don't need these people," we'd have a so much better life. You know, we're a rich country with rich in history. We've got the greatest history in the world. Everybody studies English history. We've got the greatest country in the world because it's one of the most beautiful countries in the world. It really is. It's steeped in all the things that people around the world crave for, okay? And they come here to destroy it. Even this Biafra, they come here to destroy it. They come here to take away all that we hold dear. And increasingly, we're allowing them to do it. We've got an influx of young people from Middle East, Far East, coming to this place. Young guys walking around, and all we're getting now is our kids, our wives, our girlfriends, our daughters, nieces, are all being accosted in the street by guys with a hard-on. That's it. And it's going to get worse and worse and worse and worse unless we start taking action now to fuck these people off back to where they come from. We are going to be overwhelmed by people raping our kids in the fucking street, by dragging them, and they're doing it now. They're doing it in London. And what's that dick doing? Nothing. What are they doing up there? Nothing.
But surely this is all by design, Mike. When you look at the bigger picture, now I know that through my ramblings and your ramblings and everyone else in this country trying to put this together, I absolutely in my heart know that there are people in this country in positions where they're orchestrating this, where this is all going to a plan. Say, for instance, Hitler in his war room saying, right, move that front to there, pull them tanks back here, get them troops over there. This is happening from a central governmental point of view. Now, we know that government and their social services and all these other people in the clique and in the system, which is ring-fenced, and we're not apparently part of it, there's this thing called common purpose. So I'm pretty sure and very, very confident that this is all going to plan as per what the system wishes to see roll out. A school in Dover in the last 2 weeks, there have been young girls being propositioned and being inappropriately touched by people coming here, and the whole school has turned out, and they were singing and chanting. And you got to ask yourself, well, what are the actual teachers doing about this? What are the head masters and the head mistresses doing about this? What are they doing? Are they're doing nothing.
Well, we know what they're doing, don't we? We know what they're doing. They're trying to teach you how to be gay. They're trying to teach you how to say, you're 3 years old, you want to be a girl, don't you? We'll give you. And in America now, and it's becoming crazy. People now who were men at 9, 10, their parents said, you should be gay. They're now 13, 14. They've been surgically removed. Everything is stopped, but they think it like a man. But they've got no genitals.
What?
They've cut their genitals off to turn them into women. So, and these are kids. This is what happens in America. This is what they're trying to do here. They're trying to bring the LGBTQ and all this fucking bullshit coming in. I mean, what on earth are people doing to children? For 2 years they destroyed their education, and now they're trying to destroy them as people. So what they're trying to destroy the human race for what? So we become cattle, so they can be led around the field and say, do this, do that, as serfs and vassals of the state, because that's where it is. And Kayman, you're absolutely fucking right. Absolutely right, mate. You are bang on. Yeah, guilty of crimes against the British people, not just the British people, but all around the world, politicians are guilty of destroying our ways of life. All the things we hold dear, they're taking it away. Now, we sit here every week saying, what are we going to do about it? We sit and wring our hands and go, oh, fucking hell, fucking hell. But we can't do it on our own. We can't. All you watching this out here, I don't know how many there are, might be 2 or 3, watching this out here. You know, I mean, you got a mouth. It's not just for kissing your girlfriend or your boyfriend. It's for talking and expressing. Don't be frightened. A lot of people are so frightened, say, "Oh, I don't like to talk about this because people get upset." Well, fuck them. If they're upset, tell them why they're upset. You're upset. Why are you upset? Because you can't pay your electricity bill. Because you can't afford to feed your kids. Because your kids are short of an education, which was taken away by a government that had no right to do that, to lock us down for 2 years. What good did that do us? Destroyed our way of life, which was done on purpose. Of course it was done on purpose. Why would you do what you've just done? Fucking Boris Johnson is a WEF clone. This is what they wanted. This is what it was God given. Well, and we've got more to come of this.
Yeah.
More to come of this. Bill Gates is going, well, we've got to wait for the next one or 2. They're trying to destroy our way of life and turn us all into vassals. And at the same time, wind up the Russians. Let's drop a few links around. Let's wipe out part of the population and let's bring it down to 2-3 billion. That's manageable. Then we can all chat around while these fuckers work in the fields and make us richer and give us a better life. Better life to do what? How many bottles of champagne can you drink? How many women can you have sex with? How many planes can you fly in? How many hotel rooms do you need? How many dinners can you eat in a day? It's bullshit. It's all in here. It's this. Give me more. Well, I've had more, and it did what it did. It's great, and then it wasn't. It wasn't great. It becomes boring. Sitting around doing. Everybody thinks, oh, I have millions of quid. I sit around going on holiday all the time. Really? Let me talk about that. I did that. I did that. Yeah, I did that. I sat around and did nothing. I sit around doing nothing now. And I've got to tell you, you become to the point where you think, what's the fucking point? There is no point. There is no point. There is no point in playing computer games, reading the newspaper, doing crosswords. Because I am probably the most experienced people on the planet when it comes to driving, anti-terrorist basic driving, IC, done all that, driven the great and the good. I won the biggest limousine companies in the world, and I drove everybody. And then some kid of about 12 who comes on and says to me, would you like, I understand you're looking for a job. I said, yeah. He said, what can you do? I said, well, for 30 years, I owned London's biggest limousine company. I was operations manager, general manager, director of this company, that company, did all that. And in the end, I've driven Ferraris, I've Maseratis, I've all this stuff. He said, we don't think you've enough experience.
You can't, Michael, you cannot fix stupid. You really can't. On a lighter note, Sam Smith, the singer, the Walking Lampshade, he was on a panel of being interviewed the other day, talking about how he loves to go fishing and how he loves to go and be with the fisher chems. And he's talking about fishermen. He didn't know what a fisherman was.
They call fisher people.
Fisher chems, he was calling fisher chems. And I was just laughing my ass off.
What's a fisher chem?
You tell me. I mean, only Sam Smith's got the answers to that one.
Well, he's the guy. He's the fat fuck who dressed up is the devil, wasn't he? Cavorting around.
That's right.
They're all doing this. They're all doing this. You see all metal colours and this, and all the Masonic signs all going on. Secret handshakes, like that one, third that one, all that bullshit. I mean, you see it all the time. You can't be one of those guys unless you're a Mason.
No, of course not. Oh, Mikey, now you're back. So you had a little freeze up then.
What's that? Did I?
It just went.
You know what? Do you know?
Why?
I'm being got at, Dave.
Eh?
I am. I'm being got at. I think I'm being got at. I look around. I think that I'm being got at. Here in West Morning, from my vantage point in West Morning, I can see that the government are completely looking out to have me assassinated, because that's what that's saying.
What do you make of what Carlos is saying here? Because in Aldi's, they're selling insect and soy patties, which is something you fry up, put it in your bun. But no, Aldi or Lidl, I don't know which one it is, they're actually selling these things to the English people. And that what it is, it's ground up bugs.
Yeah,
like
that's all the protein. Yeah, that's it. So we'll be like spiders. We'll be so we won't have houses. We'll be sitting on webs. That's what it is. I'm going to say. See, the next thing will be that we're driving down the road and your windscreen will completely clear itself of all the bugs, and that will scrape along, and it will go into a little ingester. It will mulch it all up, and when you get out, when you get the car, there'll be little sandwiches for you. Oh, here. Oh, you're really enjoying these. These are from the M6, which is predominantly grasshopper. I'm going down the M4 where it's only flying ants. So I changed my diet. It's bullshit. No, let's be honest. It's anybody. I mean, I don't know how many people are watching this. I don't know how many people will watch this. But
35 at the moment. 35.
Having said that, Dave, I did in Thailand eat chocolate-covered locust, and I ate tarantula legs, which were interesting, but and taste like chicken. Everything tastes like chicken, but the locusts were covered in chocolate, and the ants along with the locusts were deep fried, and the ants were chocolate covered, and I tried them, and I thought. Is that a fillet? Is that a fillet steak I'd like, or what? It's just bullshit, Dave. Yeah. So, Carlos the Pure Blood in Tesco so far.
Tesco's are in on this swindle as well.
Absolutely, they're all at it.
Who's buying them? Who's buying them? So look, let's just look at this logically. So, mother walks into the supermarket. She's got the 2 kids and the husband. He's dragging his ass, and she gets into the deep freeze department. And she's looking over the counter as he's pulled her drawers and given her a portion in the deep freezer. And she's looking down thinking, these look nice. Oh, they're insects and soy burgers. Oh, what do you reckon, kids? Well, Mum, yeah, it sounds... But people are going to buy these things and people are going to take them home and eat them. I mean, I never thought I'd see the day where we did that in this country.
Dave, you've got horses, right? You've got horses. You've got every right now to start collecting horse flies. Right, I mean, you could make a million quid now.
Of course,
free horses.
Yes.
See, Dave, what the entrepreneurial.
You are the Del Boy of this show, really, aren't you?
I'll tell you, Dave. I'm going to get an MR here, a little Mikey Babes, or MB Mikey Babes. But we lost what they won't take. I have to say, it's getting to the point now. Stupidity. I mean, I live in Westmoreland, as you know. And I went into Tesco's, which is not one of the biggest, but it's a size, and there was no tomatoes, and there was loads of carrots, and I thought, well, if I'm a rear gunner in a World War II Lancaster flying over Germany, cat-sized Cunningham, or it was a night fighter flying his Bowdenport Defiant, whatever it was, he flew. He eat carrots because it makes your eyesight. It's bullshit. No, it doesn't. It's just there to get people to eat more carrots than headloads, or eat turnips, as you know. Eat turnips and carrots, and that's all there is. And then, so Maxine, my partner, she went round there today. She said, I said, what was around there? She said, there wasn't much. She said, but there was every vegetable you could think of there. Tomatoes are all there. So and there was eggs and everything else. Last week there was no eggs, there was no tomatoes, no nothing. And you wonder why. You get all these stories from the MSM, and they'll come out with this. No tomatoes. But it's global warming. Of course, we're always down to global warming. Like Greta Thunberg, she got arrested for demonstrating against what? Wind farms. So they just save the planet, but you can't have wind farms because they don't want them on land because they're upsetting so many people. So So there you go. So there you go. Greta the Gremlin is poor little shit. You know, she's like, there you go. But I have to say, Dave, I mean, this country now it's become. Do you know what? It's becoming a pantomime. I mean, you could all these people, all the people now. I mean, I think what we should do, we should get people to who are watching this and think, nominate who you think would be a pantomime character. Like, who would be Prince Charming? Well, we know the seven dwarves are, but I mean,
Don't go there. I know where you're going with that. That's why you're laughing.
I had to stop myself. I actually literally stopped myself there.
Yeah, I know where you was going with that.
But I sat here once and I did the cabinet in pantomime and Disney characters and all these people out of fiction of a cabinet of the Conservatives all dressed up and the Labour Party all dressed up and I sat there and I gave it to a mate of mine and he cried his eyes out when he watched it because some of the things. I mean, the thing is, it's like it's got to the point of a pantomime. It's behind you. No, it isn't. It's all in front of us, but we just can't see it because they put a curtain in front of us. But as we said before, Dave, that 2 years they locked us down was the worst thing they could possibly do.
Cool.
A lot of people are now so aware. Got 60 people, as you say, went to. And when's the last time that ever happened? About council tax, went to court, and they all threw them out. Of course, it threw them out. But it's getting to. Oh, really?
Yeah, the bass player of Pulp died aged 56. Cause of death not yet been given, but Mackie's wife, stylist Kate Grande, revealed he had recently been admitted to hospital. Bless his heart.
Oh. Well, there's no time to die at 56, is it? But,
Jimmy Devin.
Yeah, but where were we?
Talking about Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs.
Oh, Snow White. Yeah, we're talking about. Yeah, I mean, let's be honest. I mean, it's got to the point, and that's where we are. We got pantomime characters. We got that's right. Exactly, came on. Great issues of paid actress. It is pantomime, and it is all about dressing up. They all sit there dressing up. Got people still looking like what they look like. They look like shit. When I go out dressed up, I look like I look like a gentleman. These people don't look. They look like what they are. They look like innocuous and pointless. And if you walk past on the street, you wouldn't give a second look because they got media coverage. Oh, I'm Secretary of State for on the Chancellor's Exchequer. Well, looking at Jeremy Hunt, a smug shitbag. I mean, who actually likes Jeremy Hunt? Who likes Keir Starmer? Who likes Richie Sunak? Nobody likes them. They're hurting our kids and our way of life. That's what's happening. They're killing our way of life, and it's deliberate, and it's doing it in every country. Macron's going to suffer it because I think France will elect a right-wing government. I think they really will. They've already done it in Italy. They're doing it bit by bit. The right wing is starting to take over. America is the Republicans got into Congress, and all these. What really always makes me laugh about these Democrats, these liberal Democrats. They talk about white slavery, this, slavery, that. There's more slaves in this world now than there was at any other time in history.
We're all slaves.
You can go to Libya and you could buy a slave. You could
do you know where the evidence is that we're all slaves?
Yeah, the birth certificate.
That's exactly right. That's a bonded. It means when you got the birth certificate, it's bonded. And slaves are bonded. So we are bonded slaves.
Don't forget, Dave, that the sole of your foot. Your soul.
Yeah, the sole of your foot is on some original documents. I've got some. Listen, guys and girls, I've got some great stuff going to be bringing you all this year to help you free yourself from the system and to get onto a level pegging. This is the year we do it.
Well, that's when the fight will start, isn't it? Once people start realising that, that's when the fight should start. When people realise how injurious, how all injurious this is. To the general population. I mean, we talk about the general population. The SNP, bless them, Så vi jobbar med och Suezfällningsgran, it's not for the bother. It's fine, play my bagpipes, all that stuff. But the SNP are barring now all the media reporting on their leadership procedures. They're not allowing anybody in. Now, this was the cut. Now, when the Conservatives elected Richie Sunak, well, Liz Truss, and everybody else, they jumped up. This should be a general election. There should be. Now they're doing it themselves. Just shows you the hypocrisy of governments and politicians. And also, we've got the Hamza Useless. He's the guy. He's the guy who, when they were talking LGBTQ and change of gender and everything, his imam at his mosque told him not to do it. So, how is it that a man who's supposed to represent the people is taking direction from a mosque?
There you go.
Let's be honest. The Archbishop of Canterbury comes up and says to me, "Excuse me, I'm in front of you." I smack him in the mat. Tell him to fuck off. Stick his cross up his ass. Because first of all, I don't believe in it. I don't believe in the church. I believe in God and I believe in Jesus Christ. I certainly do. And
Amen.
I believe there is a life after death and all that. But I do not believe in people standing there in robes that cost hundreds of thousands of pounds, surrounding gold, silver, and jewels and everything else. Kiss my ring, kiss my fucking dick, you piece of shit. Because these people they're not Christians. They're businessmen. And they're there to make money. And the Church of England has got one of the biggest, owns more land than almost as much as the King and Queen. It's extraordinary, and that goes back to Saxon times, since the church was established.
A lot of it was to do with the Norman conquest when that all happened, and Harold lost his thing, and all that kicked off. Everyone was put into becoming a tenant for life scheme where you'll own nothing and you'll be happy. That's been around for such a long time. But the actual church kept their lands, and that's why they don't have to pay no taxes. There isn't a church in this country that has to pay any form of council tax, any rates. They just don't have to pay it. We've also got a group of people that come from Israel that live in this country. They don't have to earn a living. They're given everything because they study the Torah and they live by God's law. It's only the system only really applies to the goyim, and the goyim, which is an Israel word for persons. It translates into persons. So when I keep hearing people using the word this person, that person, this person, that person, they don't know who they are, because if you knew that a person was an artificial thing, and that a man cannot be a man and a person at the same time, but then again, the man on Reclaim Your Security says if it walks like a duck, sounds like a duck, and looks like a duck, it's a fucking duck. And that's our problem, if we believe we're a person and we're in the system, blah blah blah. But I actually watched a video tonight from Reclaim Your Securities, and if you ever get the opportunity to go to a court, and you go to a court and you stand in the witness box and say the things he said, and you will win by default because the judge cannot do nothing to you by using what he says, then after that stands for the time memorial whilst you're on this earth, and you will never ever be hassled or regarded as a person again, period. You will be reborn and revested, and that's just it. You cannot be a person and you cannot be a man at the same time. You're either one or the other.
And what are you?
I'm a man. I'm 3D. I'm three-dimensional. I'm three-dimensional.
It brings me back to that time, last year or so, when I've been in London, and there was something going on down, and I was walking down towards Victoria, and I thought, a nice walk down to Victoria, and I was in Strand, and I've been out for lunch, and so I was in a buoyant mood, very buoyant, feeling like Royal Britannia, singing away, and I bow to thee, my country, and all that, and England's green and pleasant land, and I was just full. I was singing sea shanties, like yo ho ho and another bottle of rum. I don't drink rum actually. Anyway, so I got down to I got down to Downing Street, and I was standing. There's a crowds of people there, about 200 underneath the side, all these people, all watching, all taking pictures, and they're taking pictures of gates. So I walked across, as a policeman standing, he said, "Can you move on?" I said, "Hang on a second, I want to go in there. I want to go in the gate. I want to go in there." So he said, "No, you can't go in." I said, "Why is that then?" So they said, it doesn't say no entry, I say private. And I said, "Oh, you put a barrier against it. I'm a free Englishman. I should be able to, I pay for that road. I should be able to go up there." "Well, you can't. You need a security pass." I said, "Why? Do I look like a terrorist?" "No." I said, "So let me in." "No." I said, "Why not?" "Because you don't have a pass." I said, "Why do I need a pass?" So anyway, as I'm standing, and I said, "Are you pointing that gun at me?" He's got a machine gun. He's like, gosh. And he's got and I said, "You pointing that gun at me?" They went, "No." I said, "Well, it looks like you're pointing that gun at me. Do I look like am I armed, or are you just going to shoot me down like a dog?" I said, so anyway, at the gate start opening, there's a ministerial car come out. So anyway, I'm standing there talking. He said, "Can you out?" I said, "When I finish talking, I'll move." So the guy at the cop said to me, he said, "You're holding up a government car." I said, "I'm not holding a government car. He's holding me up. You're asking me to move for him. Why should I move for him? I've been told to stand in the middle of this road just as much as he is, as much to be in that car." Fair enough. Is that fair? Is that fair? He said, "Well, you're just." I said, he said, "Why are you making things difficult?" I said, "I'm not. You are, and so is he." And there's this guy looking down there, it's like, "Get out, beep, beep, beep." And some woman walked past and said, "You're a fucking menace. People like you should be locked up." I said, "Is she talking to me or you?" And like this, you see, and this guy, and he stood back with his gun, and he's got his gun. Another couple walks out. "Is there a problem here?" I said, "No, you can make a problem. You can make a problem, but I'm not a problem of my own." I said, and I started. He said, "Well, come on, mate." He said, "Please move out of the way." He said, "We don't want to get silly about this. Well, you're going to arrest me." I said, "What? For talking to you in the middle?" He said, "You are standing in the middle of the road." I said, "Oh, is that a law?" "Yeah, it's called jaywalking." He said. I said, "Really? There's a crossing area." I said, "I was just standing talking to you." I said, "And you engaged me in conversation, so I'm continuing that conversation." So he said, "But you're impeding the." I said, "I'll tell you what." I said, "This is bullshit. All I'm asking, why I can't logically walk up the street that doesn't say no entry, doesn't say private road, nothing. All it's got is gates in it with men with guns to protect it from who? Protect it from who? Me? You? Dave? All the people watching this? Are we like, we'd love to go down and storm the place, but would we go down there with guns? We go down and give good argument and say, this is why we believe, this is what this country is, and this is where we like it to be, and give reasons why. Not to stand there and say to me, point a gun. Well, not quite point a gun, but get to the point where it's getting a bit agitated, saying things like, "Oh, you've got to get out of the way because there's a government minister." He works for me. You work for me. I don't work for you. You work for me.
Well, that's what we're doing this year, Michael, because we're changing the dynamic. There is going to be information provided to everybody this year where they make the government trustee again of their estate and they become the grantor. And that is going to be a beautiful, beautiful thing. And then we're going to see the power which will come back to the people. It surely is going to come back. And we're going to have a small government again. That's the only way out of this. It's the only way out. We have to apply our minds. We have to use our brains. We have to use the system for what it is and how it was set up. And we have to stand firm. And we are going to stand firm because...
That's exactly that's the phrase, Dave. Stand firm.
Yeah, we have to. And they're working on abandoned estates and presumptions. Well, we're gonna cancel all that out this year. There's a guy, right? And he's already there. His name's Ian Walton. And he's a tattooist and he's Bristolian. He's lovely. They kept trying to come round at the beginning of this pandemic and get him to shut his shop down. And he stood firm. Well, Aaron Walton, he's been really studying ever since then, just for the last 2.5 to 3 years. And I spoke to a friend of mine yesterday, and Aaron is he's done. He's sorted everything out. They cannot. They wanted to arrest him for something, but they can't touch him now because of the things that he's done. And it's been awesome. It's been awesome. So we suffer through lack of knowledge. That's all we suffer from. So we're going to really, really straighten this out this year, big time. There's Alan. All right, go, Jess.
It's Jabba the Hutt. It's Jabba the Hutt. It is. Hang on a sec. Hang on. Have you just come back from the pub or something? What's going on here?
I'm in the B&B at Middlesbrough.
He's in Middlesbrough, the B&B.
I watched the thing you sent, the cutthroat thing.
Yeah.
That's a problem.
Unbelievable.
The police ain't interested, are they? They're not interested, are they?
No.
No matter what you do, 9 years is taking a fucking piss. And
No disrespect.
I know, but
Right?
I mean, how do you think we had to go through all that security to go in and have our bags searched? We had to take our shoes off. We had to take our belts off. We had to empty out all our pockets, take our wallets out, take our watches off, and then the security barrier, the thing you go through, what bleeps, you know, like the X-ray machine, what they call it, the thing you walk through, like the metal detector thing, like that. We had to go through all that, and Rangi, he was in front of me, and I seen him go through his bag. He asked him to open the pockets up and pull everything out of his pockets. He opened them wide so they could look inside as well. And then when we went into the court, he asked. We had three breaks in the session when the judge let the council, because the council went in there with their total inadequate. They hadn't got anything together. They hadn't prepared properly for court, and the judge wasn't happy, and he allowed
Alan, nobody knows what you're talking about. You've got to tell them why you went to court today before you carry on.
Well, Rangi is a British Pakistani guy, and he had his children taken away from him through social services. The stories that we've talked about many a time about social services and the courts and everything else, and about child abuse and so on and so forth, and the abuse that his kids suffered and so on and so forth. And I've spoken about it on many a times and all that. And I've supported Rangi for some time. I've known him for a few years. And the group of people that I know, I've been to Birmingham when he's been speaking. And I go out there and I do a lot of filming at these events. So I met him about 3 years ago in Birmingham. I did all the filming for the meeting that we had there. Got to know him, found him a really, really nice guy. And I've been following him ever since. And then I got involved in this and I came up to support him. I think this is the third time I've been up to Middlesbrough to support him when he's been to court. Okay, basically, he's got a van, a dirty, great big transit box van, and he's got plastered all over this van lies, cheats, and storytellers about the council and what they've done and everything else. And he goes out there with a loudspeaker, a megaphone, and he shouts out about the social services outside their office. Well, what they're doing is they're being offended by hurty words. Instead of sitting at their desk and doing their job, they're looking out the window, looking at this guy, and now they're claiming that he's causing them alarm, stress, and anxiety. Now, that works both ways in my book. If you're going to take somebody to court and drag him through the mill like this, but the Middlesbrough council are so corrupt. He's been reporting things to the police for 9 years, and the police have never done anything about it. Have not even come out to him when he said things to him about what's going on, about what's happening with social services and how social services, and he's got evidence and tapes of what's been going on. And then they just put an injunction out on him to try and shut him up, basically. And he's now elected to go to trial by jury. Now, he wants to go in front of his peers, for his peers to judge him, rather than some judge. Now, a judge is going to put him in his theatre, in his remit, and then at the end of the day, the judge is going to pass judgment on him. If he sides with the council, you know how corrupt they all are. And then this cutthroat was putting it in. Where this cutthroat by putting it in his bag? It's been reported to the police. Well, you saw Hope Love do that video.
Yeah.
Now she got in touch with Cleveland Police, and she turned around and quoted all their criteria about their duty of care and everything else that they're supposed to adhere to, and they haven't done anything.
Nothing. It's a waste of time. No. He's supposed to go like that.
And the guy that was representing Rangi in court yesterday, Middlesbrough on Tuesday, is the same guy who was at Westminster Court today, a guy called Mark Holt. Mark Holt was one of the peacekeepers, and he also was in court.
Mark Horn.
Mark Horn.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was Rangi's Mackenzie friend.
Right.
But the judge would not allow Mark to speak on Rangi's behalf. He didn't recognise him, although he allowed him to sit in his court, in whatever court you want to call it, a circus.
Kangaroo court.
Well, hang on.
He wouldn't recognise him.
One sec. Before you carry on, a Mackenzie friend, if you go, and I've been a Mackenzie friend twice, if you go into Mackenzie, you cannot speak. You can have advice, but you cannot speak, and you're not allowed to speak. That's the deal. So the judge was.
Hang on. Yeah, but this is what we fight all against, about rules and regulations, and what is, legislation, and what is actually, it is the regulation. Is that law? Is Parliament's acts and statute, is it law, or is the Constitution law?
Constitution is not law. It's a gift. Acts.
Yeah, it's a gift. But these people in Parliament, legislators write legislation, right? And they adhere to legislation. It's not done by the consent of the people.
But laws and legislation are not binding because they can be changed on a regular basis. The Constitution cannot be changed because it's Magna Carta. It's a gift.
I know that, but it's the law of the land.
No, but it wasn't an act of Parliament. So
the American Constitution brought up the American constitutions, right? Whether people believe it or not, or whether they don't believe it, this is the hard struggle that we find, and this is what's happened throughout the years. We've let them get away with too much. Instead of fighting these people have allowed things to happen like they have done today, and it's gone out of control.
Yeah, but we're not allowed to fight them. We're not allowed.
Why?
Because they've got their human rights.
Why not allowed?
No, because when Suella Braverman and Priti Patel tried to deport people, the left wing and the Labour Party and all these left wing lobbies all stood up and said, "Oh, it's beyond his. He's got a right to life. He's got never mind about the person he just killed." Earlier on, I was talking about a guy. He was a Jamaican guy, a scumbag, right? A fucking scumbag, right? They were getting deported. He was almost on a plane, and they got him stopped because it's against his human rights. And a little while later, he killed someone.
But that human rights goes across the board. That's for you, me, and everybody else. Yeah, at the end of the day, you could turn around and say, "Where is Rangi's human rights? Where is his right to free speech? Where's his right to protest?"
I'm not arguing against you. As far as I'm concerned, 9 years. Why do you think it's taken 9 years? Because the fucking police and everybody, all the other leading politicians up that part of the world are all culpable. Yeah. You know that more than anybody, Alan.
Yeah. You were actually there. I agree with what that you just said. It's like I could turn around and say to you, look at Matt Hancock, right? It's about all these tapes that have come out and all these text messages or whatever has come out in WhatsApp or whatever. Whether you believe an encrypted or allegedly encrypted platform is allowed this to get out, somebody's going to be made the fall guy for this, and it's going to be Matt Hancock.
Yeah.
Well, he deserves it anyway. Fuck him. I've got no sympathy for him.
I agree with that totally. All he's done is line his own pockets. All he's worried about is himself.
Yeah, exactly. And how much money has he made? He's made so much money to start his own film company.
Yeah, and all the boards of directors he's sat on to get money back from them, and all the stocks and shares he's got through being on companies with his name being used for companies. It's absolutely. He is part of it. They're not. They're all at it.
Yeah, of course they are. They've all got their nose, and that's what they're trying to. They're trying to make us pay for it.
Yeah, you could turn around and say, look, they all piss in the same pot, right? They all drink from the same trough, and they're all in bed together. All them metaphors mean so much because they're all at it.
Of course they are. Why'd you go? What does a guy who comes out of university and says, "What do you want to do for a living?" "I want to be an MP." What has he ever done that qualifies him? When we were kids, even you, Alan, because you're much younger than we are, when we were kids, well, not really, but when we were kids, government was this big, and borough councils were like this.
Yeah,
that's what ran everything. The borough councils.
Yeah.
Now, government's increased over the years, has taken more and more and more control, and now it's trying to be Big Brother. Sukdik Khan is the world's worst, putting up all these cameras, and it's going to have facial recognition, and it's going to be a place. London's going to be a place to go where you wear a mask, and if you wear a mask, you'll get stopped in the street, say, "Why are you hiding your face?"
Yeah, but then when we talk about what you just said there, Mikey, is when you talk about liabilities and whose responsibility and the limited companies and so on, you limit your liabilities, which most of them stand under. So we do the same to be on the same path as them. We end up putting ourselves under the limited companies.
I'm limited.
Yeah,
Davis, you are.
Exactly.
You are.
But what I'm saying to you is when these lot do what they want to do, and it's been going on for such a long time. It's just got out of control because they don't represent the working class people anymore. There's no such representation in Parliament at all.
Well, Dave can explain, but as a limited company, Dave's a limited company. You went limited as well, didn't you, Alan?
Yeah, I'm limited, yeah.
Right, okay. So what are they going to do to us? What can they do to me?
I did it.
They come to me, Michael Simon Reynolds Limited, and they say to me, you owe me £1 million. Say, well, I've got £1. Fuck off.
Yeah, exactly. That's the whole idea of it. You limit your liability.
So basically, anything I sign now, I sign as Michael Simon Reynolds Limited.
Amen.
That's all I do. If I sign any agreement now, it's Michael Simon Reynolds Limited.
And I've got a funny feeling, Alan, hang on a minute. I've got a funny feeling that with your wife and the way that you went at the company that was coming at you for all that stuff, that G4S, the fact that you was writing as Alan Merritt Limited, I think they thought, hang on a minute, this one's on the same sort of panel as us.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably what did it, mate.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think there must have been some sort of break on that when they think, oh, hang on, it's a can of worms here. We might be getting to something.
Well, I challenged them on everything. I challenged them on their postal fraud and UPU and PO boxes and everything. Everything they did, brilliant. I challenged them on.
Good.
Anyway, so Alan, you're sitting there looking rather pleased with yourself. So what's going on?
I don't know if I'm pleased with myself.
You look a lot happier. You look a lot happier than I've seen you in a long time. You look like you've got purpose.
I don't know about that. I've got my press pass. Got that sorted today.
Yeah, but you've got purpose.
Well, yeah. Listen, as much as it pains me to say this, I haven't nobody to be responsible for myself anymore, except for myself. Right?
Yeah.
I don't do a bad job of going out there doing these filming and so on and so forth. I've been doing it quite a while now, and whether people call it street journalism or whatever they want to call it, it's up to them. Now I've gone for steps further. I've got my journalist ticket today, so I can go out there, and it's linked up to barcodes and everything, so it would take you to a website and everything else. So it's kind of more legitimate than your average person that claims to be a street photographer or whatever the case may be, or a street reporter. But to me, that doesn't make any difference. We should have the right to be able to go out there and report on virtually anything. We should be able to go out and represent the people. We should be able to tell a story that the media don't tell.
That's what we're trying to do here, Alan, with all these shows and the stuff that we do. That's all what we're trying to do.
Absolutely.
And more people are coming over now because they're fed up with the diatribe from the mainstream media. We've got 6 minutes left, gentlemen, so it might be a good time to sort of start summarising and get your heart sleeves off your chests.
Well, for me, I just wish that there was more people listening. More people sort of taking note of what people like us say, not just think, oh yeah, well, and not doing anything about it. Word of mouth is the best form of sales.
Hugely.
And it's the best form of recommendation. I mean, you may not agree with everything we say, and half of what we say, you might think, well, but if that's true, come on and tell us. Don't sit there thinking it. we can have 10 people on here come on and say you're talking bollocks, and I'd be delighted to sit and have that conversation with you. Dave was certain, with Alan. Well, we don't know what he's doing because he's like odd. But I mean, but you can't walk around with a bald head like that and look normal, can you? Let's be honest. So I mean,
he's a very handsome man. He's very handsome.
Apparently, he has got black balls.
Listen, I'm not bad for nearly 68 in 2 weeks' time.
Are you 68?
68? Never.
You look pretty good.
68 in 2 weeks' time.
Yeah, you don't look bad at 68, do you?
He does good, doesn't he?
Well, I'm older than you. I'm 72 in April.
I know you are, you old bastard.
Yeah, I'm nearly as old as Dave.
What?
I don't drink from the same flute as you, Mike.
As it happened, while us three are here together, we've been talking having a pie and masher afternoon, and we ain't had one.
No. Well, the weather's changing.
What you've got to do is listen to me. What I've got to say is I need you two guys in Worthing in April for David Swift when he's there in court. So I want you guys to come down.
What's he in court for?
21st of April. It was he was in court because I walked into an estate agent, right, looking at different properties in Worthing, and this woman didn't understand my accent, right? And I said, "Have you got a problem trying to understand me?" And she said, "Yes." I said, "Don't I speak English?" And she said, "No." And she was fucking downright rude. And Dave just turned around and said, "You're fucking ignorant, you are. You're front of house and you speak to people like that, right? This guy's potentially going to give you thousands of pounds of commission, right? And you speaking to people like that walk in the door. No wonder there was nobody. So she called the police. And she was cuffing her. She had heart problems or palpitations and all that because of what happened and all. Anyway, the police were called. He ended up going to a call. But Dave turned around and said, "Look, talking about heart," he said, "I've had 3 bloody stents put in. I've had 3 heart attacks. I've got problems with my heart. Do you know what I'm saying? You could do the same to me. This is what I'm saying to you. This is the same as what the council, whatever the council is saying then, hurty words or whatever people say, it works both ways. By them bringing
Alan,
both ways.
Al, you need to keep things really simple. That's an easy court case. Firstly, Dave's only got to say that he speaks plain English because that's all he was ever taught. And secondly, the words he used are described and defined in the Oxford Dictionary. Next case.
Yeah, but at the end we've got that on the 21st. And I don't know, I'm asking you if you'll come down and support him and then we can get together as well.
What date in April?
21st of April, I believe it is.
But courts, why go to court? Only persons go to court. Men don't go to court. Why are you going to court? Deal with it in the paper. Court's on the paper. Deal with it on the paper before it ever goes there.
Yeah, well, they were offering it says that he can find. They want to fine him £80 for. Yeah, they just
Well, accept it. Tell them accept the fine, but let them know that he knows that that's not him. All he's got to say is that is not me. I am not that. I'm the man. That's the fiction. Separate the fiction from the person, and they know, and you know, and it all disappears. It just literally goes away.
What I'm saying is, we need simply. Listen, what I'm saying to like Mark Holt was in Middlesbrough for Rangi. He was in Westminster yesterday, and yourself, what you do, and the knowledge Mikey actually has picked up a hell of a lot over the years, and myself as well as what I do. We should be there to try and help Dave.
Well, there were 60 of them. But there were 60 of them there today, and they all got thrown out. So what's the point?
Well, I could say the same. Rangi's the same. We're fighting a system that's very, very corrupt.
You can only fight them through the paperwork, Al. You can only fight them through the paperwork. That's all.
Yeah, but they're saying their legal is above anything that we can throw at them.
No, it's not. No, it's well. Prove it.
We know that.
Prove it.
We know that.
Prove their claim.
Well, exactly. No, you're trying to preach to the converted.
I know, mate. I know.
I've been working with yourselves and Delroy and Charles Ernest Spencer and them people for quite a few times. I took my story to these guys many moons ago and asked to see if I could get representation to help me in the courts, right? Through my legal, because you know what child abuse is like. You know what the social services are like. They're baby snatchers, and it's all about money.
I've got to say, it's to me, going to court now is
it's a waste of time. It's a waste of time.
I mean, you're not going to, you just can't win.
No.
It's so biased against you. This left-wing woke society we live in do not want to believe that Swifty's right. They want to take issue with him. They want to make him guilty.
Yeah.
They don't. He could stand there with a halo and they'll still found him guilty because they.
It's all about money. It's all about trying to get money out of people.
I would tell if I was Swifty, I'd just say I'll stand there and go fuck yourself. And if you want to know what words I use, they're all in here. Define what. Show me exactly what.
David is made of that ilk. Listen. David is made of that ilk that he would do that. You know what you see with David.
That's what he does.
Yeah. David speaks his mind. If he's got something to say, he says it. Whether you like it or you don't like him. One thing David won't do is stab people in the back.
All right, I'll tell you what we're doing, Dave. I've worked it out what we do. We'll go, but they've got to buy us a massive lunch, which and put us up in a hotel.
That sounds good.
I don't know about you. You're down the south anyway.
I'm only teasing you. We'll see what happens anyway. Listen, guys and girls.
Is that it?
I'm coming up 1:15 the hour.
It's you to sum up now. You ain't said nothing.
Well,
you ain't said fuck all.
No. Well, I can't. It's I. If Mike wants to bring I'll come in. Look, I don't preset or predetermine anything. I just go with the vibe. If 1 week I'm doing all the talking and I'm on my own, that's fine. I can handle it. But I'm not greedy over these things. I don't want to control the mic. I don't want to control the show.
You like to share the sweeties out.
There's been some altercations between a couple of truthers that caught today. There's, I don't want to, but it saddens me. It saddens me that goes on because my beef isn't with anybody; it's with the government and getting straight and level. Absolutely. When we're actually going and pointing the finger at individuals and saying you're using my stuff, do you know what? I've got to be honest. Who gives
too much infighting? Too much infighting. Get on with the.
Hang on a minute. Who gives a flying fuck? I don't care who gets across the line. I don't care who wins the fucking race. As long as we, the people, get on fucking top, that's all I'm interested in, right? And it breaks my heart when I see him go, oh, you're using my stuff. It's like going to school and fucking playing conkers. It winds me up. It's disgusting.
We can't play conkers at school now because it's like health and safety. That's the problem. If you do want to play, you have to have a helmet on and goggles.
My dad told me a little story today. They had a sidecar off a motorbike when he was a young kid, and they were riding it down Dog Kennel Hill. He said, my dad said, I put 4 wheels on this fucking thing, and him and his mates are all taking turns and going down this hill and crashing into people and doing all sorts, right? And he was laughing his head off as he told me over the phone, because we were talking about my Velomobile. He said, and 3 of us were pushing this thing along, and this copper said, "Hey, you got any tax on that?" And his mate Mickey went, "We don't need fucking tax on this." He said, "It's a fucking push bike." And the copper just fucked off. The point I'm trying to make is there's bigger things in the world, guys. We get so fucking wound up. Let's enjoy life. Let's get back that spark. I'm not going to do in this movement, wherever it is, I'm not going to do schoolyard bullshit. I'm a man. I'm going to be a man. I'm not going to act as a man because acting's for fucking actors. I'm going to be the man, and I am going to respect everybody that's in this. If I don't agree with them, I'll walk my own path. I won't even say nothing. But when we all start calling each other out, we make ourselves look like fucking idiots.
Well, that's not a bad saying. I've got to say, that's pretty well said.
Yeah.
But that doesn't get you out of buying the first round of pie and mash, all right?
That's all right. I can live with that.
What do you think? Fair enough. So we're not going to Worthing. We're going to do it in London because they can't get pie and mash down in Worthing. All we get is Welks.
I cringed earlier when I see that. I'm like, why are you making that man feel so fucking uncomfortable? All he's trying to do is bring truth to the fucking table. What? And I'm just like, I don't want to be part of that. I really fucking don't. It winds me up. I'm here because kids are fucking being abused. The elderly are being abused. Councils are taking the piss. The old bill's gone too fucking far. I'm here, hopefully, to try and remedy that bullshit situation. I'm not here to talk cunts out of one another. And when I see people doing it, it breaks my heart. It really does.
All right, Dave. Go, mate.
But we'll see you all next week, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for tuning in to the show. Hopefully we won't get tuned off. And we'll love you and leave you. And we'll see you all next week. Yeah, look at yourself, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for that. Sorry about my rant the last couple of seconds, but sometimes things need to be said. And that's how.
Don't forget breakfast.
Don't forget breakfast. Yeah, no, we won't. We'll do that. And it's coming now. The weather's changed. Anyway, I've got to go. I'll see you all soon.